Hello, I'm Anthony Gismondi and welcome to our latest video in which we follow a year in the life of a BC wine grower. Each season we'll be looking in on 4 different wine growers from separate regions around British Columbia. As spring unfolds across the province, we begin in Kamloops at Harpers Trail, where the vineyard team is unearthing canes buried late last fall.
I believe we are the first winery to be doing this in British Columbia. We might have some partners in Kamloops starting to do the same thing. So what we are trying to do is protect a shoot or a cane from our vines from the cold elements of winter. So if we were to have some trunk damage, then we could use this shooter cane and use it as a future trunk. So basically it saves us a few years if we were to replant. So how things work is throughout the growing season, we'll use a sucker from one of the plants. We'll just keep one and we'll train that sucker up and grow it for the whole season. Once the fall comes and it becomes a cane, we'll lay that cane down and fully bury it in soil. Then comes the springtime. We have our crew right now, as you can see behind me. We basically go at it with grape hose in our hands and we unbury them. And if needed, we'll be utilizing them. Fortunately, this winter was pretty good, so we won't have to be utilizing them. We just did some bud assessment. And in the Cabernet Franc block, I believe we were at 90% of our buds were in good condition for primaries. So for us, it is a good year, but the work still needs to be done.
Unearthing takes place in late winter or early spring once the wine grower is sure freezing has passed. This work takes place alongside the annual vineyard pruning.
We are probably 3/4 done our pruning. So we are going to be starting the Pinot Noir tomorrow, a little bit of Gamay. So I'm thinking 2 weeks of pruning, then we'll be done the whole 25.5 acre property. After pruning, we'll be moving forward with the tying and still continuing with the unhilling. So this is sort of a really ongoing process where we have multiple small teams going. We definitely try to put most of our effort into the pruning first so we can get that out of the way. And then hopefully we can get all the rest done in time, which I'm quite confident this year we'll be able to.
Moving to the mid-Okanagan Valley in the Naramata Bench, we catch up with grower Richard De Silva, who in addition to his regular spring tasks is planting chardonnay vines.
These are the little pink flags you see everywhere are where our posts are going to go. We have a really kind of sophisticated way of laying out our plants. We had a white PVC pipe here with some electric tape marking out the plant separation, and away we go. So what you're seeing here is this is my lovely crew here. They've been with me for quite a long time. We have Sophie. Say hi, Sophie.
Hey, hi, everybody.
And Darian. She's a new graduate of the viticulture program here. She's been working as her second year with us. And here you can see the little plants here that we're talking about. And this here is a chardonnay plant. So it's got some roots from last year. And they're right now, as you can see there, putting them in the soil here. And because they're not putting any soil in with them, let's kind of show this here real quick. You can see here, we'll put that in like this, and we'll just use the soil that's here already. The reason is because we have really good organic material already here, so we don't have to put any soil amendments to the soil here.
As is the norm in wine growing, it'll be another 2 to 5 years before the grapes are ready to be used, and even then the yield from young vines will probably end up in a blend. By the 10-year mark, the very best blocks will end up in the winery's top labels.
This time of the year is the most crucial time of the year, the busiest, but it's also some of the most fulfilling. You can see you're planning out for future vintages and also future growth in your vineyard. So in here, we're just going to start tying in here. We got pruning, we have obviously mulching. We mulch all our prunings here, and then tying, all happening like right after one after the other for sure. So this is me laying the foundation for what my harvest will look like this year. You know, even though I'm the winemaker, I really enjoy this part of it. This to me is where my passion lies. And really it makes the job of winemaking a lot easier. This is taken care of first and foremost.
With warm weather and spring well on the way, we head south, about a 40-minute drive to McIntyre Bluff, just north of the town of Oliver. From the middle of his vineyard, owner-winemaker Gene Covert espouses the virtues of regenerative farming techniques and cover crops.
Our crews are in, and we're tying things down right now ahead of bud break, probably in the next week or so. And so, yeah, the move is on.
Well, regenerative farming is a whole systems approach to rebuilding soil, and it's based on 5 principles.
Don't till or disturb your soil, either chemically or mechanically. Plant diverse crops and rotate them. The use of cover crops to augment the soil systems, and keeping the ground covered at all times, which is quite unusual in a lot of vineyard situations. And then, if possible, integrating livestock into the system that really turbocharges it and really helps you build up organic carbon. We've always had some cover crops as part of our farming systems, but typically we grow cover crops as monocultures, and that only has limited functionality in that 60 to 100 days you're growing it. So we've really adapted over the last few years to multi-species cover crops, putting together different plant types and different functional groups. For example, cool season legumes, cool season grasses, warm season grasses, warm season legumes. And this basically adds complexity, biodiversity to the system, also enhancing the resiliency of the system. Sort of counterintuitive, you think that having all these extra plants growing is going to use up your moisture, but keeping the ground covered, keeping that soil surface not exposed to direct sunlight reduces that evapotranspiration. And also you collect a lot of dew at night and in the morning. So you're filling that short water cycle in the vineyard system itself.
We see behind you some animals. It's a pretty exciting development in the Okanagan to see more Catlin vineyards. Well, what's the why and when and where of all that at Covert Farms?
You know, it took us a couple of years to work up the nerve to do it. Most of our herd are Scottish Highlands that have fairly long horns, and we were, concerned of damage. We did sustain a little bit of damage over the first couple of years. Separating the bulls from the rest of the cow herd really slowed that down this past year. So that's really good. And the great thing is what we're doing is with all these cover crops we're growing, we're building up the soil micronutrients and building up soil health, if you will. And these cover crops are producing pretty significant amounts of biomass while they're feeding our grape crop. And so the cows are basically led into the vineyard in November, and they come and eat all what we call winter stockpile. So these cover crops have dried down. Instead of baling it, which is near impossible in a vineyard situation, we just let them graze it. So our about 20 cow herd grazes for about 8 to 10 weeks on a 20-acre vineyard. So when you think about that, we're getting nutrient cycling and inoculation from the cattle's rumen. And we're also growing about, 2 pounds per animal of beef per day, augmenting our grape production.
For our last stop, we head north again to East Kelowna to Summerhill's Biodynamic Vineyard for a serious discussion about composting with CEO Ezra Sipes and winemaker Michael Alexander.
Well, this is the time of the year that we apply our biodynamic compost. We put it down right underneath the vine.
We got our neighbors' horse bedding. This year we got some chicken manure, which is unique for us. Everything from production ends up down here. All the skins, seeds, all the yeasts and sediments, and all of our landscaping waste from the garden and everything from the kitchen as well. If you eat in our restaurant, you don't finish your plate, it'll get scraped into the compost bucket. And then finally, all of the biodynamic preparations, which are added to aid certain processes of the decomposition in the piles.
And Michael, what do you do with it? How do you spread it? How deep is it, or how do you use it?
So we do some soil samples on all the different blocks to see what they need. We also look at what last year's fruit looked like. And the crew will go out. We've got a compost spreader. Some of our steeper blocks, they actually go out with a couple buckets, and they bucket a little compost onto each vine. So instead of just doing a blanket across the farm, we try and read each plant, try and read each block, and apply it where it's really needed, and it will do the most to create the healthiest vines.
Tony, you've been here before, and you know that we don't like to expose the soil. We like to keep a ground cover over everything, and that's so we can keep a living soil with a biome, right, with bacteria and fungus living there. And our soil naturally is very sandy silt. It's very deep, lots of river rocks, and it's very, water just dissipates right quick. So the primary thing that we're adding is organic matter so that the life and the soil, the water, has something to cling onto and stay stable to support that web of life over time. And then what happens is the roots, form a connection with that web of life, and they're able to get what they need from the soil. And then Michael gets grapes that have the nutrients available for them to turn into good wine.
Composting is just one of many tools biodynamic farmers use in the vineyard. Sections of the farm are set aside for biodiversity, and a whole farm approach is applied to managing the land's overall health. We asked Michael if there was a key time, according to the biodynamic calendar, to spread compost.
We love to get it on this time of year, as we're seeing more life in the vineyard, more life in the cover crop and in the soil. We love to get the compost out there. We normally wait for root days. We take a look at the moon, see when it's waxing or waning. But on root days, the earth does a big deep breath in and a lot of nutrients go in. And so we wait for around then to spread the compost.
Ezra, you're working your magic with Michael. The earth is breathing. I love to hear that.
Michael is magic.
Thank you, guys. I hope you get off to a great start this spring. It looks like the compost is really ready to go.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Look forward to sharing these wines with you.
As you can see, winemaking is mainly wine growing, and wine growing is a lot of work. We'll be back in the summer to have a look at flowering, fruit set, shoot thinning, and a whole other set of tasks that make up a year in the life of a BC wine grower.